Hello. The 280th day of the heroic resistance of the Ukrainian people to a Russian military large-scale invasion continues. The enemy concentrates its efforts on restraining the actions of units of the defense forces, carries out engineering equipment of defensive lines and positions, and continues to conduct offensive actions in the Bakhmut direction. The transfer of personnel and military equipment of the enemy to equip units that have suffered losses is ongoing. During the day, the occupiers fired 2 rockets at civilian objects in Kamyshuvka, Zaporizhia Oblast. We carried out 20 airstrikes on the positions of our troops, as well as on the settlement of Bilohirya in the Zaporizhia Oblast. In addition, the city of Kherson was shelled from MLRS. There is still a threat of enemy missile strikes on the objects of the energy system and critical infrastructure throughout the territory of Ukraine. In the Volyn and Polisia directions, the situation has not changed significantly, and no signs of the formation of enemy offensive groups have been detected. The training of individual units of the enemy continues on the training grounds of the Republic of Belarus. In the Siversky direction, the enemy carried out mortar and artillery attacks on the settlements of Serodina Buda, Bilopilia, Budki, and Krasnopilia of the Sumy Oblast. In the Slobozansky direction, the enemy continues to hold military units in the border areas of the Bilhorod Oblast. Areas of Veterinarn, Kozacha Lopan, Vysoka Yaruga, Strileka, Plybok, Staritsa, Ohertseve, Budarki, Chuhunivka, Petro, Ivanivka, and Dvorikna settlements of Kharkiv Oblast were shelled by mortars, barrel, and rocket artillery. The enemy is defending in the Kupiansk and Lyman directions. Tanks and artillery of various calibers shelled the areas of the settlements of Proshatrovniv, Kislivka, Kotlyarivka, Tabaivka, Krokmalm, Berestov, and Druzyubivka in the Kharkiv Oblast and Stelmakivka, Makiivka, Ploshchenka, Nevsk, and Chervenopopivka in the Luhansk Oblast. In the Bakhmut direction, the enemy continues to focus its main efforts on conducting offensive operations. Objects in the areas of Verkhnokamiansk, Spern, Vyamka, Bilohorivka, Yakovlivka, Soldar, Bakhmutsk, Bakhmut, Chasiv Yar, Opitny, Klishchivka, Pivnikn, Zalizn, and New York areas were shelled. The occupiers are trying to improve their tactical position in the Avdiivka direction. The areas of Avdiivka, Vadiane, Pervomaysk, Nevelsk, Krasnohorivka, Maryanka, and Novomykhailivka settlements of the Donetsk region were hit by fire from tanks and artillery of various types. The enemy is conducting defensive operations in the Novopavlovsk direction. Areas of the settlements of Volodar, Bohoyavlenka, Prikostivka, and Velika Novosilka in Donetsk Oblast were hit by artillery fire. The enemy is also on the defensive in the Zaporizhia direction. Shelled the areas of the settlements of Zahern, Orahiv, Novoandrivka, Mali-Sherbeki, and Plavny of the Zaporizhia Oblast. The city of Nikopol, Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, came under direct fire damage. The enemy is conducting a positional defense in the Kherson direction. Fired tanks, mortars, barrel, and rocket artillery at the positions of our troops. The enemy does not stop shelling the suburbs and the city of Kherson. In order to replenish the current losses of units of the Russian occupation forces, the early graduation of cadets from higher military educational institutions of the Russian Federation is planned in the first quarter of 2023. In addition, preparations for the next wave of mobilization scheduled for February 2023 are ongoing on the territory of the Russian Federation. In the city of Krastalnya in the temporarily occupied territory of the Luhansk Oblast, the Russian occupation authorities announced the end of mobilization. At the same time, the occupiers continue to patrol the city. At the exits from the settlement, a thorough check is carried out on all those who wish to leave. It has been confirmed that enemy units were defeated in the Zaporizhia region during November 28-29 of this year. Thus, in the area of Inzanern, Palahi, and Tokmak settlements, the enemy lost about 100 people wounded. 5 units of military equipment were destroyed. During the current day, the aviation of the defense forces made 15 strikes on the areas of concentration of personnel, weapons, and military equipment, as well as 2 strikes on the positions of the enemy's anti-aircraft missile systems. During the day, Ukrainian rocket launchers and gunners hit 2 areas of concentration of enemy personnel and anti-aircraft missiles and an important object of the occupiers. We support the armed forces. Together we will win. Glory to Ukraine. Let's keep in touch.